So let's pick up on the story that we were reporting on earlier. The MDC Alliance now says it's currently investigating claims against their Bulawayo Women's Assembly Chair, Tendai Masotsha, in the abduction and subsequent torture of Tawanda Muchehiwa. Masotscha is alleged to have played a part in the abduction of Muchehiwa, an opposition activist who was abducted in broad daylight, his lawyer says, by 5 armed men who tortured him for 3 days before dumping him badly injured near his home. The Alliance says the recent video footage of Tawanda's abduction confirms that the violations were carried out by the state. For more, I'm now joined by MDC Alliance spokesperson Fadzai Mahere. Ms. Mahere, just tell us what the MDC thinks happened here.
Well, obviously, all we can go by right now is what the victim, Tawanda Muchehiwa, has spoken of publicly. That's all we know so far. And it's important to state very clearly that he doesn't state that Ms. Tendai Masotsha abducted him. The only thing that he says is that, at the time that he was abducted, she was at the police station and then she was released. His actual abductors, there are 5 men who are implicated. She wasn't one of the abductors who are named. She wasn't one of those. There's just a suspicion because she was one of the ones who was arrested and then released. And that's where this investigation by the party centers around. Yeah. And obviously, I don't want to preempt too much what the investigation is going to go into. And obviously, I don't want to impinge her right to a fair hearing as well. So, I can't say. It would be speculation for me to say what I think could possibly have taken place.
And what you're saying backs up what Tawanda's lawyer was saying earlier, that she was in the vicinity. She wasn't then arrested while he was taken by police. Do we agree that these were police officers? Do you agree with his lawyer on that?
Well, we must be categoric. She was arrested. She was arrested. According to Tawanda's version, she was arrested, but then she was released. And I think that's where the suspicion comes from. And that's where the investigation is. Even if you read his version, the reason why he is suspicious is because she carried the flyers. That's according to his version. And he's suspicious because when he then asked his abductors, what is it about me? It's because he had these flyers. So he then becomes suspicious because the person who was in possession, as his lawyer has just said, was Ms. Masotscha. Yeah. So it's important to be categoric that the actual perpetrators of the abduction are not Ms. Masotscha. It's not Tendai Masotscha who carried out the abduction. It's important to be very clear about that. That the perpetrators of the abduction of Tawanda Muchehiwa are the state. State-sponsored, ferret, functionaries, state-sponsored. It's Mr. Mnangagwa's people who are responsible for the abduction. That should be clear. It's not the MDC Alliance that abducted Tawanda Muchehiwa. That should never, ever be, mixed up or confused.
No, sure.
The state is responsible for that abduction.
Yes. And you are being very clear tonight.
Even according to his own abduction, it's important to be quite clear about that.
Sure. There are reports, so I'm glad you can respond and you can be very clear. I read one report which suggested she may have led the perpetrators or the police to where he was. So you're saying that will all form part of the investigation. It's all speculation right now. Nothing is clear.
At this stage, it's all speculation. Even if you look at Tawanda Muchehiwa's statement, all of that is not clarified. And those are the things that are going to form the basis of the investigation. What role did she play? Does she know? Is she able to identify who these abductors are? All of those questions will be put to her. Even the complainants will be called, will be part of this investigation. All of that will be clarified. But I think it would be very unfair. And I don't think Tawanda Muchehiwa anywhere statement, and even if you look at the evidence which is available, nowhere does Ms. Masotscha feature. Even if you look at the role of Pala Capital, If you look at the owner car, it's not Tendai Masotsha. These are all functionaries of the state-sponsored, machine that are responsible, and that this is very consistent with the position that the party has always taken, that abductions are carried out by the state. So we have to be categoric about that, if there was anything that, needs to be explained here by Ms. Masotsha is what does she know and about who those perpetrators are. Okay. Are there any leads that she can offer? Is there any further information that she can assist with in the investigation? I think that's where the role of Ms. Masotsha becomes very important. Okay. Was she, is there any information she can help with?
I'd like to end,
but to say that she abducted, I think would be pushing too
not
too
saying
far.
that. I'd like to end with a question about Tawanda Muchehiwa himself, reportedly running from police, fearing for his life. There are reports that the car that was used to abduct him by his abductors was caught on CCTV footage. So surely this can be investigated pretty easily, but what are the chances in your mind that he will receive justice, that these police officers themselves will be arrested and face the courts where they can be declared innocent or guilty?
Francis, we're absolutely shocked as a party because in terms of Section 219 of the Constitution, the police have an obligation to secure persons and to investigate crime. With all the leads, the video evidence that has been offered so far, that has been made available, we would have expected the police to be completely on top of this investigation. We would have expected them to go to Impala Car Rental, to be getting the names of those responsible, we would have expected arrests to have been effected by now. But that hasn't happened. And this puts paid to what we've been saying all along, that the state is complicit in the abductions that take place in Zimbabwe. And particularly on this day, today is the International Day of the Victims of Enforced Disappearances. There's so many people who've been abducted in Zimbabwe. There's Itai Dzamara, there's the case of Justina Mkoko. There's so many people who continuously get abducted, and there's so much impunity that comes with this. The perpetrators are never brought to book, and we now see that it's not because of a lack of evidence. It's not because the evidence is not there. Here we've got all the evidence. We've got a court on CCTV. We've got, the journalists have done a fantastic job. The evidence is all there, but there is no political will on the part of the police, who we can go as far as saying are captured by the state. Because if they were independent and willing to do their job, by now we should have seen arrests having been taken place. And we object to this, and we continue to call for those who are responsible for the abduction and torture of Tawanda Muchehiwa to be brought to account. We stand by him and we say that those who are responsible, even if you look at if you look, not only is he living in fear, right now his kidney is on dialysis. He's only 22 years old. Why would you torture such a young soul to a point where his kidneys will malfunction? Yeah. The doctors initially were saying that the damage is almost irreversible, unacceptable. Yeah. Zimbabwean lives matter.
Yeah, we have to end it there, but this is an extremely worrying case, and as SABC News, we will certainly follow what will happen now in the wake of Tawanda Muchehiwa's abduction. He claims that he was tortured by state officials. That was MDC Alliance spokesperson Fadzai Mahere.